First, I'd like to thank the grace of heaven, the virtues of masters, the compassion of our predecessors, all transmitters, every one of you for giving me this opportunity to learn to speak in today's class on the aim of Tao and world of great harmony. So our holy teacher says, Heaven's Tao is descended to bring salvation to the world. In order to reach the goal, it is necessary to transmit the essence of Tao to people so that those who receive Heaven's Tao can discover the truth and restore their true selves. Once they restore their true selves, they will always display and extend the 5 virtues of Tao to others and eventually complete the holy mission of bringing salvation to the world. So what is the purpose or the aim of Tao and the world of great harmony? So if we enter the large temple on the right side of the wall, there is 2 large framed writings in Chinese. One is the aim of Tao. The other is the world of great harmony. That's on this side, okay? So today I will give an English translation and brief interpretation of what those 2 writings are all about. So the other one is the world of great harmony, which is Confucius' vision of the ideal pure world. Okay, so if we follow the aims of Tao, in this period, with the Tao is openly propagated in the 3 realms, then this world will eventually become the ideal world of great harmony. Okay, so let's start with the aim of Tao. First, we must respect heaven and earth. We all came from heaven, okay, which created this whole universe. Therefore, we all have to respect heaven, okay? Heaven has what? The sky, the sun, the moon, the stars, okay? We are all nurtured by this earth. This earth is where we live in. Okay? It is our home. It is where we grow our food. It is where we have life existence or exist. Okay? And that is why we'll have to respect heaven and earth. Without them, we cannot exist. Next is to follow the ways of the saintly. We learn and follow the examples of the saints and Buddhas. To have the heart and mind of a Buddha. Okay? To be compassionate. And after all, they were all once a human being, just like we are today. But because they cultivated themselves fully, okay, and sacrificed themselves for the benefit of all sentient beings. And that is why today they are worshipped by millions of people. So we must follow in their footsteps, okay? Follow in their values and their virtues and their compassions. So one day we too can reach enlightenment just like the way they did. To love all nations and act with loyalty. We all live in a nation. This is where our homeland is. Without one, we won't have a home. People all live in a nation, and we are all brothers and sisters. We are all equal. There should not be any bias, so no matter what nationality or what race, different people from different cultural backgrounds, they all come from different nations. So we must love all nations. They are all our brothers and sisters because we all have the same Buddha nature, the same true self. Okay, we are no different. Each one of us are the same. So we should love all nations and be loyal. Okay, we have loyalty to our masters, loyalty to our holy teacher who gave us that 1 point of transmission. Okay, so we have to be loyal to our holy mission, loyal to our country, to our family, and loyal to the company we work in, loyal to our employers. To have a sincere character and to esteem the proper behavior. That means we have to be a virtuous person, to be honest and sincere in all transactions. and in all interactions with other people. There was a saying, honesty is the best policy, right? So always remember there's always a set of eyes looking at us. Whatever we say, whatever we do, whatever our behavior is, we are always being watched by God. Okay? So whether we are honest or not, heaven will always know. Okay? Uphold the rules of propriety. As a Tao cultivator, we must have the most righteous behavior at all times. In our speech, our conduct, in our actions, and then also in our thoughts. So to also become selfless, we always think of other people before we think of ourselves. We have to let go of our ego, the I. Okay, so just like the Buddhas never think of themselves. They only think of all sentient beings, and whatever they do will be the benefit for everybody. Okay, so everything we do must be in accordance with our Buddha nature. To be filial toward parents, Holy Teacher says, filial piety is the highest form of goodness in our life. The grace of parents is as great as heaven. It would take an eternity to return for all that our parents have done for us. Okay, giving us life, supported us, taught us, okay, nourished us, raised us, and love us unconditionally. We also must pay back for all they have given us. Okay? That means that when they get old, we must make sure they are comfortable, that are well taken care of. That also means that when they leave this world, we must have the proper propriety to honor and love them even though they are gone. Always remember how grateful we should be in order to pay back the grace that they gave us. Okay, we have to also cultivate ourselves. Okay, when they are still alive, we have to make sure we bring them into the temple to receive this heaven's Tao. This way, when they do pass away, we know they will go to a better place where there's no suffering. Okay? We also must cultivate ourselves so they can benefit from us. And ultimately, so when we reach enlightenment, they too can stay in heaven eternally. Okay, so always remember how important it is to bring them into the Tao. To uphold teachers. We must respect all teachers for giving us an education. All teachers. Okay. We also must respect our holy teachers. The statue on the right and the statue on the left. Because they propagated this Tao in the three realms. They gave us that one point of transmission. Always be respectful to our teachers. And also our 18th patriarch and our 18th matriarch. They endure so much hardship to bring this Tao to us today. So therefore we have to honor them by following in their teachings, okay, and help them to fulfill this heavenly mission to propagate this Tao. Okay. To trust friends. We all have friends, and good friends are hard to come by. So when we have friends, we have to have faith in them. Okay, we have to trust them, and we have to love them and be kind to them. After all, we're all brothers and sisters with the same Buddha nature. Okay, so we have to maintain that friendship with trustworthiness. To be harmonious with neighbors. We always think about our families and our friends, but we never think of our neighbors, right? We never think about our neighbors. Everybody has neighbors. Whether we live in an apartment or we live in a house, the people next door to each side of our house, people across the street, down the end of the block, these are all considered our neighbors. Okay? So even if we are homeless, we live in a shelter, we also have neighbors, right? These are all our neighbors. Okay, we must get along with our neighbors. It's always better to have a friend as our neighbor than an enemy as our neighbor, because when we need help, the neighbors are always there to help us. Okay, let's say we go away on vacation and we need somebody to pick up the mail and watch the front door, make sure everything is okay. That there comes the neighbor, right? And also we also have to make sure that do not pick on the slightest, the pettiest little thing that our neighbors have done, either to our property or the areas around our house. And for example, if their garbage, they put their garbage a little further into our property, that's okay, let it go, no big deal. If their tree grows into our property and it gets in our way, it's okay. Okay, we have to learn to let go, because it's always better to have a friend rather than an enemy. If we have an enemy, they can be our worst enemy. Okay, they can do a lot of harm to us if we don't get along with our neighbor. Okay, so that's why it's important that we are harmonious with the neighbors. To transform evil into good, we change ourselves to be a better person inside and out. Inside, our thoughts must be pure and good. Outside, our words and our actions and our conduct and our temper and our bad habits must also be good. Okay, so we have to also first recognize what our faults are. Without recognizing it, we will never change, because if we don't admit to our faults, how can we change? If we think we are perfect, how can we change, right? So in order to change, we have to recognize where we need help, what area. So if we recognize that we must improve in this area, then we take it step by step to improve ourselves, to transform ourselves to good. To elucidate and understand the 5 Confucian relationships and the 8 virtues. The 5 Confucian relationships are superior to subordinates. That means anyone that's above us, such as the government, okay, or our employer, right? Or our parents, these are all above us, okay? So the superior should be kind to the subordinates, and the subordinates should have respect for the superiors. Parent-child. Parents should be loving and benevolent to the children. Children should have filial piety towards the parent. Husband and wife. Husband and wife should have mutual respect for each other. Okay, they should love each other and take care of each other. In the old days, where the man is working, earning a living on the outside, and the woman is basically more in charge of the home life, take care of the home and the children, and the cooking, right? Then the husband would be bringing the money home, so they should be feeding and supporting the family, whereas the wife should take care of the home because they are in charge of the home, right? But today, we are in the modern society where the husband and the wife are both working. They should both respect each other, and they should both share the responsibilities of the home. Okay, so since they are also working together outside, they are all both supporting the family. So mutual respect, mutual role as husband and wife, the same responsibilities. There's no separation on responsibilities. Okay, brothers and sisters, the older siblings should take care of the younger siblings. They should teach them and set up a good role model for them to follow, right? Because if the older siblings are not doing, setting a good example, the younger ones will follow, which is bad. So they must have good, proper behavior at all times, okay? The younger siblings should have respect and love for the older siblings. Friends, again, be trustworthy. Okay? And each one of these people have their own role in society. So we must do and perform to the best of our ability in our own role. The 8 virtues. Again, filial piety. Okay? So we have to love, respect our parents for all they have done, and for the grace we have to give back for their grace in raising us, and in nurturing us, and in loving us unconditionally. Brotherhood. To love and respect our siblings, not only our own personal sibling at home, also everybody, because every sentient being is our brother and sister. Okay, and we must love all humanity. Loyalty. We have to be loyal to our country, loyal to our company, loyal to our employers, our family, and mostly to our parents. Okay. On top of that, don't forget to be loyal to our holy teachers and heaven. Okay. Trust. Again, trust, to trust friends. Have faith. Okay. And the reason why we are friends in this physical realm is because it's due to past affinities from our past life. So that's why the people around us today is all due to past affinities. Propriety. Propriety is the foundation for the bonding of human relationships. With propriety, others would like to be close to us. Okay, think about this. Do you like to be with people that do not have manners, that, do not act properly in their speech, in their conduct? Or do you prefer to hang around with people that is well-mannered, that have very proper, dignified behavior? Okay? Of course, the latter, right? And that is why we all must have propriety. Righteousness. We all know what is right and wrong, and we do what we know is right, and we stay away from doing the things that is wrong. Okay? So by doing this, we will never go astray and do things that we are not supposed to do, like commit sins, okay, or go and steal, right? So these are all the wrong path. Modesty and integrity. A person of high ideals and morals is highly respected. Okay, so a person's outstanding ability will naturally give him a good reputation. So that is why we all should be honest, okay, modest. We all should be humble, and we all should be dignified. Okay. Sense of shame. We all should know have a knowledge of what is shameful, because if we do something that is shameful, it will also be going against our Buddha nature. Okay, so having a sense of shame, that means that every action that we take is all virtuous. Always know what is shameful. Just like if somebody commit a crime and they go on national TV, what do? They put a paper bag or a jacket over their head because they're shameful for their act, right? So in other words, we do not want to be in their place. We want to do what is proper and what is righteous. So we don't have to put a paper bag over our head, okay? To spread the profound truth of the saints of the 5 religions. So although each religion segregates itself from the other, and each supports its own doctrine, there is only one truth. Okay, so all religions are talking about this now. Okay, this one truth. However, throughout time, due to cultural differences, due to language barriers, due to understanding of this truth, this understanding become deviated from the truth. Okay, So people no longer are pure and good as they used to be. So today, they no longer understand the true essence of the truth. So each of the 5 major religions, which is Taoism, Confucianism, Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam, they are all talking about this truth, except they're only talking part of this Tao, not the whole Tao. Okay? So in Taoism, they focus mainly on maintaining one's true nature. Okay, it's to detach from our emotions and our desires. Confucianism, they focus on humanity. And Confucianism, the people believe that human relationship, okay, in society is very, very important. Buddhism focuses on compassion and love, kindness and care to all sentient beings. Treat all equally. In Christianity, it's brotherhood. Love one another. Okay. In Islam, it's purity, the cleansing and purification of the soul. Okay. So this is the 5 major religions. So they all came from this Tao, and the Tao is it's mainly focusing that, or hoping that one day all religions will return to this one truth, this Tao. Okay, so that is why we say from one comes many, and all many will return to this one. That's the Tao. To scrupulously abide by the 4 pillars of ancient conduct. The 4 pillars are propriety, righteousness, modesty or integrity, and the sense of shame. And I already just covered that, so I'm not going to go that into detail. The 3 mainstays of social order. The 3 mainstays are superior, subordinates, parents and children, and husband and wife. I also covered that also. And also the 5 constant virtues, which is benevolence, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, and faith or sincerity. So with sincerity, that is the center core, the main core of all these 5 constant virtues. So if we have sincerity, we have true sincerity, all the other 4 virtues will follow naturally. Okay? So sincerity is utmost important. To purify the heart and wash away anxieties. Our heart and mind should always be pure. Okay? Use our wisdom to purify it, to purify our heart and mind. To get rid of any unclean thoughts, get rid of our desire, attachments, and emotions, and to get rid of worries and fears to maintain this purity. To utilize the false to cultivate the truth. What is the false? It's our physical body. Right? This is only temporary. It's from our parents, but eventually we have to leave this false form. We have an average of, what's the lifespan today? 80 something, 90 something. If we're lucky, 100 and something. There are many 100-something year olds, okay? But eventually we all leave this world, every one of us. There's no one that can live eternally. Okay, that is the false. And what is the true self? That's our Buddha nature. We have this, we also have the Buddha nature that gives us everything that we can do without this body. With this body, we can see, we can smell, we can eat, we can listen, we can move, we can breathe. It's from our Buddha nature, and that is from God. Okay, that is part of God. Okay, we all came from God. So that is why it is important also to receive the blessing for those that have not received the blessing, so that, okay, one day when we leave this false body, we can transcend from this physical realm of reincarnation which is a world of suffering. There's so much suffering here. We don't want to come back. So we want to transcend it and go back to God, where it's eternal up there. We don't have to come back here anymore. Okay? It depends on what we do. So how we cultivate, how we practice, how we learn, how we propagate is all up to us. Okay? So no one can do it for us. We can only do it for ourselves. Okay? So that's why it's important to receive the blessing. Okay? Now, to restore the original self to its natural state. Okay? That is to recover one's original Buddha nature. To bring back our original true self, which was in the natural state of purity and stillness, without defilements, without desires or attachments. We also have to introspect daily to make sure what we are doing is proper, that we are not committing any faults that we are not aware of. So in order to self-reflect, you would never know what you have done today was a fault. Okay, so that's very important. So our heart and mind should always be in its natural state of purity and stillness to restore that original Buddha nature. Don't let anything from the outside disturb us, and don't let anything on the outside give us like different emotions of up and down. Always remain pure and still, just like the Buddhas. To bring out the highest compassion and conscience that is within each of us. That means to continually develop one's innate wisdom and natural abilities until we can achieve perfection. Our original Buddha nature had the highest benevolence and compassion and conscience. So we all have to restore ourselves to that natural state again. To establish oneself and help others establish themselves. To establish and reach one's own goal, and in order for us to help others, okay? To transform others first before we can help others transform. However, that doesn't mean that we just sit around and change ourselves to be perfect like the Buddhas in order to help other people. While we are transforming ourselves, we can start to help other people. Okay? To achieve and help others to achieve. We all need to reach that enlightenment. Okay? So, in order to reach it, that means to achieve it. Once we achieve it, we have to help others to achieve. It's not just for ourselves, we have to help all sentient beings. Just like Buddha. Once he achieved perfect enlightenment, he went and teach all his disciples, okay? The same thing. Once we achieve, we have to help others achieve. To draw peacefulness into the world, to transform this world into a peaceful, honest, and orderly society. If we can set example for others to follow, we can then bring peace into this world, to transform human hearts into good, to enlighten the minds of people and to enable them to return to a state of benevolence, to bring about world unity and harmony. By pursuing this path, okay, which is this is like a guide in our cultivation. This aim is like a guide for us to follow, to transform ourselves and to help others around us. So eventually, once we follow this path, this can bring about world unity and harmony with equality, fraternity, welfare, and justice. And that is Confucius' ideal world of great harmony. Okay, so now we go to the world of great harmony. This is Confucius' ideal of a commonwealth state, a great utopia. This world of great harmony came about when Confucius was attending a feast given in honor of the guests taking part in the winter sacrifice. Okay, so this is from a chapter 9 out of the Book of Rites. So when the feast was finished, Confucius went to take a stroll onto the gate tower of the ancestral temple for sightseeing. And there he took a deep sigh with deep emotion, and he was sighing for the state of Lu. That is the name of the state. And his disciple Zilu was by his side. So he asked his master, "Why are you sighing?" And Confucius replied, this is what he quoted: "The ages when the Great Way was practiced, and the ages when the country was ruled by the illustrious men of the Xia, the Shang, and the Zhou dynasties." Those are the periods in ancient China. "All those ages I do not have the luck to have seen with my own eyes, because those periods where emperors rule the kingdom with propriety, with virtues." Okay, so that is why he was sighing, because he says that he did not see it with his own eyes, and yet they inspire him. They do inspire my inspirations, is what he said. And this is how the World of Great Harmony came about, because then follows all these points he was saying in his stroll with Zilu. Okay, so the first says, "When the perfect order prevails, the world is like a home shared by all." The world is like a commonwealth state, shared by all, but it is not a dictatorship. Okay, it's love among everybody. It's not a dictatorship. "Virtuous and worthy men are elected to public office, and capable men hold posts of gain employment in society." Confucius says, for those who help run the government, okay, the people must be courteous, precise, generous, just, and fair, to govern the country with virtue. If a ruler is fair and just, then his people will follow and do the same. In order to govern others, one must first govern oneself. Okay? So the nation is thought of as being one great family. Isn't that wonderful? You live in harmony, one big family. He also says, "Peace and trust among all men are the maxims of living. Everyone is honest and trustworthy. Neighbors are kind and respectful to each other. All men love and respect their own parents and children, as well as parents and children of others." This is the social order. Harmony and good government should be based on family relationships. So all people are filial not only to their own parents, but to parents of everybody, to all elderly people. Okay, because they see all elderly people as their own parents. Okay, they will love not only their own children, but all children, because they see all children as their own children. They will respect and be kind, okay, to everybody. And therefore, there will be universal love regardless of family and social relationships. Everybody is the same, okay? There is caring for the old. The elderly people are cared for until they pass away. So the people that do not have family nor friends don't have to worry, oh my God, what am I going to do when I get old, right? Nobody to care for me, nobody to watch after, to look after me. However, if you live in the world of great harmony, you don't have to worry about that, because all elderly people will be cared for. Okay. There are There are jobs for the adults. Every person will have a job based on their abilities. Okay, so there will not be unemployment like we have today. There are nourishment and education for the children. All children are the new generation for the future, right? And their growth is very important. So their nourishment and their education, which provide development for their mind and their virtuous character, these will all be taken care of by the government. So children don't have to worry, parents don't have to worry, and it's one big family. There is a means of support for the widows, the widowers, for all who find themselves alone in the world, and for the disabled. These are people who need help from other people, right? They are the neediest of all the people and will rely on others for help. So with the world of great harmony, all these needy people do not have to worry about their welfare. Okay, they will be taken care of by the government. And one of the chief duties of the government is to see that the sufferings of other people are alleviated. And Mencius said, there are the old and the wifeless, or the widowers, the old and the husbandless, or the widows, the old and the childless, or solitaries, the young and the fatherless, or orphans. These four classes are the neediest of the people and have no one to take care of them. So this is what Confucius is talking about. Okay, so in addition, the disabled in the military service or in the course of their labors should also be supported by the government. Okay. Confucius also said, when kindness is repaid with kindness, the people will be encouraged. Humanity serves as the world's code of ethics. Righteousness serves as the world's code of conduct. And giving back brings to the world mutual benefits. Okay, so when we help other people, everybody will benefit. Okay? So not only material welfare is provided, but also spiritual support. There will be no poverty where harmony prevails, and there will be no shortage of people when there is contentment. Every man and woman has an appropriate role to play in the family and in society. Again, we are talking about the 5 relationships, okay, which I had covered in detail previously, between the ruler and the subject, or what we call this, the sovereign and the subordinate, between the parent and child, between the husband and wife, between siblings, and between friends. Okay? These are the 5 relationships. A nation is thought of as being one great family. Good government ensures the happiness of the people and the ongoing improvement of society. Confucius believed there is an order in the universe. Humans must act in harmony with this order. So 2 basic ideas. Duty. If everyone does their duty to the fullest, then society will prosper. And second is humanity, to have compassion and empathy for other people. To lead a virtuous life, it is important that one maintain family relationships, because to Confucius, broken family relations will eventually lead to a corroding society. Okay, so if there's no harmony in the family, it will eventually lead to a corroding society. It works hand in hand. Therefore, everyone must act according to one's position and role. A sense of sharing displaces the effects of selfishness and materialism. There is a sense of sharing in this world of great harmony. Even though if there are resources lying about and no one would take it for their own selfish use. Okay, it's unlike today's society. Even if it's locked up, they still take it for their own selfish use, right? But in the world of great harmony, Even if they see it right there in front of you, they won't take it. Okay? A devotion to public duty leaves no room for idleness. They hate not to make use of their abilities, but they would not work for their own self-interest. Okay? Intrigues and conniving for ill gain are unknown. People do not scheme, they do not plot, and they do not connive for their own selfish gain. There's no such thing. Villains such as thieves and robbers do not exist. The door to every home need never be locked and bolted by day or night. Thieves and robbers, troublemakers and rebels doesn't exist in the world of great harmony. Okay? So there is trustworthiness among all people, and therefore all the doors need not be locked, whether it's daytime or nighttime. Okay? People feel safe in their mind. They don't have to worry. They will always be at ease if their home is not locked. Okay? Because there's nothing to worry about. No one will enter or take your stuff. That's the great world of harmony. Isn't that a place where we all want to live? I would. Today, everybody double and triple locks their door with gates, okay? And the windows are all gated and the doors are all gated. It's like you're living in a jailhouse, okay? So I don't want to live like that. These are all the characteristics of an ideal world, the Commonwealth state. This is a perfect world of equality, fraternity, harmony, welfare, and justice. This is what we Chinese people call 大同. The world of harmony is called 大同. Let the state of equilibrium and harmony exist in perfection, and a happy order will prevail throughout heaven and earth, and all things will be nourished and flourished. This is the state of the people, by the people, for the people. Okay? This is what Confucius aimed for. So in conclusion, Holy Teacher says, Heaven's Tao urges people to follow the essence. Okay? To uphold, that means the aim, what I just said. To uphold the four principles of propriety, justice, righteousness, and knowing shame. And the three orders of morality, that is the ruler subject, parents and children, husband and wives, and the five constant virtues of benevolence, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, and faith or sincerity. To purify the souls, be remote from lust and evil thoughts, use the limited physical life to create this eternal life. That means use our limited body to create this eternal life and follow the Buddha nature. Okay? To restore the true self, that's our Buddha nature, to return to God's kingdom, and to convey the truth to others, so others will also follow. When everyone seeks out the truth, the whole world will be in peace. People will have goodness in their hearts, and the world of harmony, utopia, will become a reality. These are the only objectives of Heaven's Tao. That's what Holy Teacher said. Okay, so right now we already took the first step. Most of us received the Tao. We must learn, cultivate, practice, and propagate the Tao. And to cultivate is to change ourselves for the better, help others to change themselves. Okay? When we reach enlightenment, to also help others reach enlightenment. This is how we can create Confucius' ideal world of great harmony. It's not impossible. It is possible. Okay? But we have to take the first step. Okay? So hopefully more people will follow, okay, based on how we conduct ourselves in other people's eyes. So they see that we are proper and dignified and righteous, they too will follow in our footsteps, just like we follow the saints and the Buddhas. Okay? Any questions or anybody want to add anything? Ty? You want to add something? We have 10 minutes.
Well, I mean, Confucius, he believed that education was, people can be taught. I mean, as long as they are taught the right things, maybe starting from as children and older, that they will all conduct themselves properly, behave properly, and all that. I mean, through education, and I think that's generally true. I mean, because every person, also Confucius or Mencius says that they all inherently good-natured. Okay, they are inherently good-natured. So, because we have that Buddha, what we call this Buddha nature, this true nature, that, and you can say a manifestation of that is our conscience, right? Everyone has a conscience. If we follow that, then of course we will be quote unquote good. So, the people who are committing crimes and other things that are improper, you can say that they've been badly influenced. they have a bad influence from others or from whatever that led them astray. So but Confucius thought that through education people can learn the proper way and they can then correct themselves. And in today's society, of course, it's a little bit hard. I mean, education is very important still. I mean, but I don't know if it will always work just through education alone. Obviously, the nurturing in the family and the homes, that's probably more important than what happens in schools. The education they get in schools. And unfortunately, because of, I guess, the way the society is working today, you have both parents working, and there's very little time spent with the children. Maybe their values are also, the parents' values are also not, they're like pursuing wealth and all those things that are not necessarily, so they don't focus as much on trying to teach the children properly, and we can see that. I mean, and then you also have, and then the kids also, because they're left alone, they spend all their time on the internet and or in games and all these things that are, kind of giving them a wrong view of the world and giving them bad advice or whatever, bad influence, and so. Then you can end up with conflicts in the home, family, and that spreads into the society itself. And so, you have a lot of dysfunctional families as a result, which is sad. Now, this world of great harmony, although that is the vision, of course, the ideal vision for everyone to participate in that, but there are always going to be people who, for whatever reason, maybe they don't. I mean, they may think, yeah, that's nice, but there's some people maybe they just can't. I don't know. they can't be corrected. I don't know, but and so this world of great harmony is not going to be like. It seems kind of impossible in the world that we see it today, but I can see it happening on a smaller scale. Okay. And so, so the Tao is about finding those people who are good. Everyone's good-natured, but they have that affinity to be able to follow this path of the truth and of this cultivation to want to achieve this goal. And so, unfortunately, there will be calamities, there will be disasters, there will be wars. And while receiving this blessing, this vow also can help us to avoid those, because this is, that's why it's called a blessing as well. But the people who will be left, who are not perish in these calamities and wars, etc., they will be the ones who will create this world of harmony. Okay, so hopefully, as the younger people and students. I mean, obviously, you guys are the future, and so I hope that you also have this vision of wanting to live in such a world, and for you, the younger people, it's more likely that you'll see it, and for us, who knows when this can happen, but but there are going to be many things that difficult times, let's say, that will happen, before that happens. But as long as we have that will, that determination that we want to achieve, then it can happen, at least on a smaller scale. And we all start in with the people around us, right? Create that world of harmony with the people around us, those that we can influence around us. our family, friends, coworkers, etc. That's where it starts. And so you have, little pockets of world's harmony all over, and then gradually, that spread throughout the world. But so yeah, we always start with what we can do. Okay, it's not like trying to achieve some impossible dream, but those around us that we can influence and in a good way. Yeah.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Virginia. Just to bring further one of the points made by Lecturer Tai about how cultivating and receiving the Tao can help us avoid calamities. Because once we receive a blessing, then we have our holy teacher's blessing with us, and we learn about all these concepts, the principles, what are the right things to do. So slowly we are getting rid of some of the I would say probably not so proper attributes or the defects or the impurities in our temperaments or in our personality. So we are really nurturing our magnanimity, and we will also have a lot of positive energy within us. You probably have heard of the book by, The Secret, right? What's her name? Just Rhonda, right? Rhonda, by Rhonda. I forgot her last name. Yeah, she talked about how the positive will attract the positive, and negative, likewise will also attract negative. When we have the positive energy, we also attract the good energy from around us, from other people. We attract positive people to us. Also the good energy in the universe. And I just feel, when we are very proper, when our thinking, our actions, our words are proper, we just feel like things are progressing very well. When we have some kind of, sometimes my mind can be also grayish, not always so, sunny. And when that happens, I think it can just go, down the hill. And it's very important that we have the willpower to turn things around, to turn our mind around, and stop thinking about the negative thoughts. And I think this is what I learned throughout the years at the temple. So it's really fantastic to be able to learn and cultivate the Tao at the temple. I was with some kind of educational group. It's like charity group, and we also try to spread good things, good practice. But that's still, I feel, after I came to the temple, it was still quite superficial. We just do things, just do the good things that most people think are good. But I think those things are not very fundamental. So the fundamental thing is really to set our heart straight, just like a lot of sutras or classics that set our mind straight. And that means that we have to always be in sync with our Buddha nature, with our conscience. And when we always fall back on our Buddha nature, then we always have a proper mindset, proper action, and things will just, grow. We just develop very, logically, and I just feel things will just go smoothly for us. So I hope the young ladies would often come to the temple, because the more you learn, the more you feel that there's more to learn. And I think will become, especially all these principles, very fundamental, and they really target our Buddha nature, our true self. So once you learn this, then I think all of us will become more self-disciplined. There are different ways to discipline our action. There are the regulations, like school regulations, workplace regulations. That's the probably more elementary level. There's also the regulation of what we call the binding by religion, or by what about the causality, things like that. But really, the most important discipline should come from our Buddha nature, knowing that this is against our Buddha nature, or this is doing in accordance with our Buddha nature. That's everlasting, and that's the most fundamental.
Thank you, Ajay. Anybody else? I think time is up.
Something I'm talking about.
Oh, did you want to say
John's
something?
voice. Sometime
You could-
soon today.
Okay. So in any case, like both Lecture Ty and Virginia said, we mentioned that you guys are the future, right? But sometimes most people think that Confucius is like from such ancient times. All the ancients, everything that they taught is so relevant today. But there are so many external things that include in this world harmony. We can't forget the trees, the animals, and so forth. And today, most of the people are not paying attention to those things. So the environment is very important, because if we don't have a proper environment, it's very difficult for us to actually do things or treat others properly, because once something is affecting us, then we would sort of have that type of attitude towards dealing with other people. So we have to think of those things and try to utilize that sort of feeling to get, so you guys will be examples for those below you in terms of age. So
对不起，那个金讲师，我带他去跟要去加州的人认识，他带加州去，带人去加州开会。That's a please, I take you, I just here in the queue. I take you to park and your name wanna go to California. Come, now. Okay, sorry, okay.
okay, yeah,
Okay, I guess it's break time. Let's get the 10
yeah.
minutes break.
So okay, so we probably could continue this conversation afterwards. We're gonna have a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back for another class.
If I say anything wrong, I ask that
So
this will get
one